All right, time for chapter 6. If you look at the top, we're going to be focusing on the vocabulary words vetoed, frolicking, and analogy. And I want you guys to be thinking about the traditions of America and Chinese, and not just in this particular book, but I want you to be thinking about the traditions that people of China have and the traditions that we in America share. So we're going to get started with chapter 6. On the way home, my mother sat next to me in the back of the car and asked my dad how much the bill was. "Don't worry about it," he said, batting away her concern with a hand. "It was good to see everyone, wasn't it?" "Yes, but I don't know why you always have to pay for everyone." "Of course we have to pay," Dad said. "We're Chinese. That's what we do." He glanced at my mom in the rearview mirror. "What, did you want us to split it?" He uttered the word split like it was a curse word. "No, but there are things I'd like to be able to buy for us." "Like what?" My mom shrugged. "Like a second car?" "A second car? But we're always at the motel." He turned around and looked at my mom. "Do you have any idea how much a second car costs?" "We could buy it on a credit card," I offered. Now that we had a card machine, I got to see for myself the magic of these little cards. All you had to do is swipe, sign, and boom, all paid. My mom's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea. We should get a credit card." No, no, no. That's a terrible idea," Dad vetoed. "We're not spending money before we have it. That's such an American thing to do." "No, but we will pay for 20 people's dinner," my mom muttered under her breath. The topic of credit cards was put on hold for the rest of the car ride. When we got back to the motel, my parents thanked Hank for covering the desk. "Hey, Hank, what do you think of credit cards?" my mom asked. Hank hopped off the stool and slapped a hand on our credit card machine. "Did you know you get a ton of miles on those things?" "What are miles?" I asked Hank. Hank explained that most credit cards reward you for using them to buy stuff by giving you free airline miles so you can fly to places and get a vacation for free. I poked my dad. "Free vacation. I liked the sound of that." "Yeah, but only if you spend enough money, which we're not going to," my dad replied. "You never know. I'm applying for one myself," Hank informed us. He tilted his head and made a dreamy face. "Can you see me frolicking around the Bahamas?" I giggled. I could totally see that. Later, I found my mom in the laundry room, except she wasn't doing any laundry or folding towels. She was bent over on the small stool, filling out a bunch of papers. "Mom, why are you doing that in here?" The laundry room was so damp and sweaty, you could start growing bean sprouts on your nose if you stayed in there too long. My mom jerked up from the papers, surprised and slightly embarrassed. "You scared me." I looked down at the papers. They were math worksheets for her students, hand-drawn and hand-copied. There was even a line where she had written "name" with a line on the top, like a real teacher. I smiled. Then I noticed another piece of paper beside the stack of math papers. Across the top it read, "Application for credit card." "Hank had an extra copy," my mom explained. "It can't hurt to apply, right?" "Wow," I said, impressed. "But what about Dad and not spending money we don't have?" My mom gave me a look. "You think with my mom's eye for numbers, we're going to get too carried away?" she asked with a wink. I smiled again. Fair enough. I pointed at all her math worksheets and asked her how that was going. "Good," she said. "Some of the students are getting it. You know who's really good at math? Lupe." "Really?" I asked. I always figured Lupe to be more of an art person. She drew such breathtaking landscapes. My mom nodded. "But I need to buy some calculators and a real whiteboard if I'm going to teach more complicated stuff," she said. She glanced down at her credit card application and sighed. "I wish I had fewer rooms to clean and more time to do math." Her eyes shifted to the mountain of dirty towels next to her. Every day, there was a new tower. "Would you want to go for your engineering exam or a technician's exam like Uncle Zhang?" I asked, thinking about what she'd said at dinner. My mom thought long and hard. No, she finally decided, because then I wouldn't be able to see you all the time. I smiled at the gray tile floor. I wasn't sure if she really meant that or if she was just trying to make me, and her, feel better. But either way, I felt relieved. Softly, I told my mom about what the girls in the bathroom said yesterday. And what do you think it means to have an accent? My mom asked. I don't know, I muttered. Something I have now, but if I work really, really hard, maybe someday I'll get rid of it. My mom put a hand over my knee. Want to know what I think? I met her eyes hesitantly, half afraid she'd come up with another devastating transportation analogy. Instead, she said, I think an accent is like your very own unique signature of all the places you've been, like stamps in a passport. It has nothing to do with where you're going. I smiled at her in surprise. Thanks, Mom. She smiled too. Speaking of signatures, she said, lifting her pen. And that night, under the hot, roaring laundry machines, my mom signed her very first credit card application.